All right, greetings everybody. Today is Thursday, November the 6th, 2025. A lot has been going on. Didn't we just have what they call a beaver moon? And I think it was said it was in the sign of Pisces. And then we got this major flash coming through that's supposed to be happening toward the middle of this month or the end of this month. Well, anyway, changes are always happening, and we all are changing. We're changing the way we think, the way we feel, especially about ourselves and our loved ones and our friends in the human form, as well as Mother Earth. Everything is seeking change, and change is essential to our well being. So, one of the things I wanted to talk about today, this particular clear blue radiance topic is called Life is a Dream. Life is a dream. Now, before I get started with that, just in case you want to share this with anyone else, because it's pre recorded, I've been a spiritual counselor for about 50 plus years. I've also been a teacher of meditation since 1974. And I also started my Circle of Grace One spiritual ministry, which is basically delving into meditation and then branches out, of course, into the other areas like numerology, tarot, dreams, and many other different topics. So I'm here today to share this with you, and I hope that my notes here will give you enough of something to think about in terms of dreams. So here we are today. It's sunny out here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'm in the area called Los Ranchos de Albuquerque. It's pretty chilly outside. I got up this morning, it was 48 degrees. I hope wherever you are across the United States that you're not feeling the chill too soon. Anyway, according to many ancient shamans, which is sometimes the word is pronounced shamans, and spiritual elders and spirit guides. We all have our spirit guides. They could be in our ancestral lineage or they can be beyond that. All right. So the dream world is considered to be our real world. The dream world is considered to be our dream world. Now, for a very long time, not just even centuries ago, but in our waking living moment in this time, no matter what age that we are, our greater society in terms of those are into science, those are into biomedic sciences, I'm going to call it that. I just made up a word. But also, we have been delving into what the brain is capable of doing, scientific research. Way back in the 30s or 40s is when scientists around the world came together and started working on understanding the brainwave level that goes on within us. Now, when they put these terms together, there's one or two that seems to be out of place, to me anyway, if you think about it. The one we're in right now, where I'm talking to you and you're listening and you're watching this and you're taking notes, and you could be doing other things too as well in your home or your office or outdoors, is called beta, BETA. Now, beta is a highly active time frame, right? And it's roughly around 13 cycles per second and higher. Now, there's one higher than that, which is called gamma. And gamma is when that's for the people who are, I would call the thoroughbreds of thinking, the people who have high intelligence levels. They get that gamma wave activity, which is popping through the universe. But in this realm of consciousness, there are four. So beta is anywhere from 13 cycles per second and higher. That's when you're wide awake. Okay, that's when you know you're wide awake. You know you're not taking a nap or anything. And then there's the alpha. Now, see, beta means two, alpha means one. So, alpha is when you're first getting up out of your sleep, coming up out of the dream world, gaining a hold on yourself. Maybe you're almost knocking at the door for the theta level and the delta levels. So, in alpha, alpha is the range that people who are empaths, who are channelers on some level, who are also healers can be in that category as well. And then people like myself who do meditation. And then people referred to as intuitives and medical intuitives and psychics. Okay, we kind of fall into that alpha range. And the alpha range is cutting the earlier part that I just mentioned about beta. And so alpha drops down to half of that 13 cycles, which puts you around seven, right around in there, 7 cycles per second, going up to about overlapping into 13 to 14 cycles a second. And then you have something that is called theta. Theta. And theta is three, right? And so now that lowest part of the alpha, you might say, gets cut in half and it drops down to 4 cycles per second and overlapping a little higher. So, what is happening in these different levels, especially in alpha and theta, there's a shift, energetic shift that's happening in the brain, an energetic shift that's happening in the brain. I'll say it again, an energetic shift that's happening in the brain. Well, things appear to be slower coming up into the forehead, but it's coming up out of the radiation of energy through what is called a pineal gland or pineal gland. And in some cultures, long before that, especially in the ancient times of Egypt, known as Kemet, the land of black sand and so forth, that thing was called pennial. So think of it like writing. And so this object, this organ that sits in almost at the center of our brain and just above it, underneath the thalamus area, is the pituitary. Now, sometimes, and I'm going to say this because I can feel it, this energy shift. If you become sensitive enough, you get that tingling sensation between the ears. You get the tingling sensation right up in here. You get a tingling sensation a little higher up that is connecting you up into the crown. So sometimes the pineal gland and the pituitary gland are charging off of each other. And usually the pituitary actually is the one that takes you into the crown center right here, right where I have this little bald spot, little button on the top of my cap. That's pretty close to where the pituitary or crown energy is radiating out into the world. So we have these factors. And then, of course, from theta is delta. That's when you're getting down there where the door starts to open up on you. And usually, if your sleep is deep enough in that range, in the theta, you'll have what is called out of body experiences. Some people call it astral traveling. I like to call it soul traveling, where you're moving and grooving on a different frequency. And what's happening is your physical body might be asleep, but your heartbeat is still pumping, and your brain waves. Your brain is giving off a level of energy. And what happens is you're in there deep enough and you begin to notice there are some changes. Your body feels lighter. Sometimes you feel like you're being pulled up out of your body. Now, I used to get it two different ways. In the beginning, I used to get it as if a group of beings or helpers were lifting me up from my feet, right? Grabbing my feet, lifting me up, angling me back, keeping my legs straight, and then gently lift me up out of the body. I used to get that feeling in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s. And then when I got into the 2000s, right, 2000 AD calendar system, I started realizing, well, I don't want to go up and out that way. Why don't I envision myself kind of almost rising up or sitting, wanting to sit up and then get out? And so sometimes what I used to do was practice I've taught some people the feeling of being able to be in a deep enough meditation where you can see or feel yourself get up out of a chair and walk across to a chair that's only 3 or 4 steps in front of you. And I've taught people how to practice that. Now, is that easy? No, it's not easy in the beginning. There are certain sensations that you have to trigger in order to get that feeling going in within yourself. And I'll just tell you a little bit. One of them is actually sitting, looking at the chair, envisioning seeing a reflection of yourself sitting across from you. And the other one is physically raising up out of the chair and record what that feels like. Remember what that feeling is like getting up out of a chair and then sitting back down into a chair. And then it's getting up out of the chair and physically walking across to the other side that's going to be opposite you, turn around and sit down. So you practice those feelings and then you practice within the mind and in the body without physically getting up out of a seat and walking across to sit opposite yourself. That takes a little while, and usually within about 60 to 90 days, if you're intending it and you're diligently taking your time through the process, you will eventually trigger that. So often when we fall into that delta is like I call a comatose stage because it feels like that to you. There's a certain heaviness that goes on through your body and you're aware of it. You're aware that the body is asleep. The heartbeat is going on. The brainwave level is kicking out its energy, and you're there, and then you feel like you're not there. That's right. You're there, but you feel like you're not there. And here are some things I've also come to realize. It's not just getting up out of your body because the entire environment is shifting along with you. So actually, there's a greater expansion of energy even before you get to that point of rising up out of your body like that. There's this dome of energy, this ball field of energy that you're actually in. So you're not falling out of the self, so to speak, so much, or thinking that you're actually going somewhere. You're within the confines, you're in the area that you call home. And you can feel this pleasantries through your heart and your brain and also the rest of your body. So I wanted to put that out to you because usually those things can be worked out when you realize you are in the dream world. When you are experiencing a dream, that's when you start to like, you're in your laboratory. And it's not just here, your entire body becomes the laboratory. Your entire body is having the experience of the dream world. Now, I often tell people, I didn't put it in my notes here, but I often tell people to me, there's two types, and this is just my experience, two types of dream experiences that you can have. Well, one, I could tell you definitely three. Um, the one that's probably more far-fetched would be you know you're dreaming and all you hear is voices, but you don't see anything. That's one. And then there's the other, which is more symbolic, meaning everything you see in the dream, even yourself. That's the most important part. That's more of a symbolic dream because you can see yourself in the dream, full figure, head to toe. So it's as if you're at a movie theater, seeing yourself on a screen, interacting with nature, with people, with animals, and so on and so forth. But the most important one and the most potent one is when, just like you see a reflection of yourself in a mirror or on the computer, but if you didn't have that, all you would see or sense are your hands out in front of your body. You can look down and see the front of your body, almost the sides of your body. You know, you get that sensation. And that is what I call the dream body. That's when you're experiencing, you can actually energetically touch your face and your hands and parts of your body because you're in the dream body. So when you get into the dream body, it's almost easier. I should not even say it's almost, it is easier to work out your life patterns, whatever you are experiencing in the present state of mind and physicality of your body, then you can actually see yourself make changes. In other words, you're in that dream body and you're making decisions on how you're going to handle your current situation as when you awaken and you're in that beta state and you're functioning on the earth as such. So this often happens. And what is most important for us to understand, whether we're doing meditation or you're doing satsang chanting or you're doing drumming or you're doing martial arts or yoga, one of the things you want to realize is that we are the ones who reside within this realm of an inner knowing as our higher self. So that means you're not functioning as you, the little person on earth. You are functioning at a much higher pace, a much higher level of consciousness. People always say higher consciousness, but it's not just higher consciousness, it's everything that's embedded in that higher consciousness. You have an opportunity to experience. Now, many times we are here, quote unquote, here, being recharged. We go to sleep here, right, in the physical form. But when you're in the dream world, that is a whole nother sensation of being recharged. What would you be recharged with? You would be recharged with the divine essence that connects you into the flow of what you call your higher self. So you would have a completely different level of nourishment happening with the with your body, because at that point you're dealing with the ethereal part of you, or we call sometimes the etheric body, just beyond the physical, but you are still connected to this physical form that you have, right? I always say this like we have several umbilical cords, and I should say it better. Blah, blah, blah. Keep it real, right? The umbilical cord that you got from your mother, right, from your navel to your mom into the placenta, well, you still have an energetic cords. Now, these cords I'm not talking about where people are trying to spy on you and lock into you from the back or from the side. The one I'm talking about is where you are impressed to be able to communicate still with this physical form. So that's why I said that when you are experiencing the dream world through your dream body, you begin to sense that the field of energy is much larger than you can imagine. It's not just this smaller frame of thing that you're dealing with, but a much, much bigger realm. And that's what you want to understand. You're not encapsulated as yourself in this little tiny form like a bug, on a leaf. You're in some field of energy that is huge. It's larger than you are. And the more we become aware of it and the more we start to attune ourselves to our higher selves, then we realize we're not like this physical pen walking around on the earth. You might want to think of it like this. Let me get something like a penny. So here we are on earth, this penny, and your higher self is like this. Let me go this way. So your higher self is like this. Here you are as the penny on earth, and here's your higher self. So you see how big that is, right? So imagine the body mechanics and so forth that you're triggering through the input of your dreams and the experiences is like that. So here you are, this penny is inside that humongous pen combination flashlight. So if you're like that, or better yet, like this, and now I get the penny out again. Where did I put that thing called a penny? So imagine now this is you on earth, and here you are as your higher self on top of that. You're inside the higher self, and that's what you're utilizing to connect with everything in an infinite form beyond yourself. So many times we are being recharged. We use sleep on earth to recharge. We use meditation on earth. We use exercise. We use nutrients and vitamins and minerals within the body, trace minerals, in order to recharge our form. But what we're doing during the point of dreams, we are learning and discovering our true presence. So, whoever invented the mirror for us to look into did a good thing because here we are in another dimension of consciousness, recognizing how huge we are, how much energy that we actually radiate into the world. And we have to keep all of that in mind. See, we're looking for our true presence, the truth of our existence from many perspectives. Our Earth, planetary and galactic. We're delving into all of this literally at the same time. We are a part of all of that we are experiencing and seeing at the same time. So we're seeking to understand our place. Where is it that we are when we go into this physical world? And we're thinking that's all there is. And where are we when we go off to sleep and we're traveling with the ethereal part of our body into other realms of consciousness? What role are we playing? What are we striving to do? That would be the question that we have. And here's something else. Many of us who are studying various disciplines or various cultures, religious cultures and societies, and non-traditional sides. Eventually, you start experiencing that as well. And now you have a more expansive awareness of things that you are interacting with or you have the ability to interact with. And this is highly important. You also are finding yourselves being available to begin to understand what is called a past life type of experience. So many people have come to psychic fairs and they will ask me, well, who was I in a past life? Well, I always say, we can find maybe one of you in a past life, but eventually the more you practice that, the more you begin to have experience of other lifetimes. For instance, I've been, various what they call the psychic fairs or psychic expos, and people come to me with their children, and they go like, "Well, who is this person? Who is that person?" Now, their children could be a teenager, okay, or that teenager is now an adult, and the parent is like into this studies is now in their 60s. So that means their son or daughter might be what, in their 30s. And if they're a little older, then mom had that son or daughter early, like in her teens. But bottom line is sometimes many parents are experiencing that the child that they have, especially when the child was much younger before they hit the teens, the child seemed to be able to guide the parent or tell the parent what to do. And this is a hint, a potential hint that that parent's child or children was their parent in a past life, and that children was the parent, and the parent in this current lifetime was the child. And so they're constantly experiencing these things, the ability to flip back and forth in and out of various timelines and also plausible future timelines. We don't know how the future will carry itself out all the time, but we see some potentialities of how it could do that. All right. So, but it's not doing it by itself, it's being generated from your heart your heart chakra and the way that you're thinking, your thoughts and the heart coming together. And then once you know that you are in line with your higher self, now you can begin to dictate the direction or the time frame or a specific area of consciousness that you want to project yourself into. There are so many different things that are happening, and being in the dream world and being consciously aware, because that's the thing. You have to become more what they call lucid, Lucid. And a lucid dreamer knows that when they're off sleeping very deeply, they've probably been off to sleep an hour and a half to 2 hours. At some point, they're consciously aware that they're having this dream and they're beyond it on some level. They're able to project themselves into another frame of consciousness, and then they begin to see the intricacies, how the dream begins to work itself out, and how they can shift that awareness. So you begin to uncover greater truths, more infinite truths about yourself, and you're able to solve any quote unquote puzzles. All right. And this allows you to impact and enhance your consciousness. And when you're in the dream world and you're in your dream body, you have the wherewithal now to see how you're going to take certain actions or no actions whatsoever. Maybe you're there doing research. You stepped into that zone to do research. And so maybe you'll do some scientific research. You'll do some historical research. You'll be looking at old maps. You'll be looking at future maps. You'll see how maps were shifted around for political reasons. You'll see that. So there are different realms of consciousness that you're going to experience, just not this 3D world, but you're going to experience consciousness fully in the heart center or the heart chakra, the seat of compassion, the seat of grace, especially, and wellness and emotional energies. You're going to know the difference because there a greater sense of discernment kicks forward. This is important. You're going to be able to communicate with vaster realms, more expensive, excuse me. And so what happens is a person might say, well, I'm going to visit Lyra. I'm going to visit Sirius. I'm going to visit Andromeda. I'm going to visit wherever I can go. Canis Major, Canis Minor, I'm going to go there. The Milky Way, I'm going to go there. But what is happening is you're still here because the earth, energetically, organically speaking, the earth is much larger than we see beyond ourselves with these physical eyes. People say, well, the world is flat. Well, did they have this spiritual experience? I'm not here to discuss whether it's round or flat, but I can tell you it is an organic being. It is an organic being that we're in touch with. So if you have not experienced, and you have to be able to experience beyond this physical world to be able to know that it's flat or round or whatever. The thing is, it's all energy. And the more certain thoughts go into the energy, goes into the atmosphere of this earth is sort of like our auric field that our body is giving off. When we're consciously aware that we're in that environment, then we may see something differently. But keep in mind, you got billions of minds thinking of similar thoughts. And they begin to get stuck and accumulated. So we're not always sure what it is that we're seeing, but we do know portals exist. Portals. Portals exist. These are like doorways in and out of a frequency that you can attain and that you can experience. Our dreams can be used to communicate with vast higher realms of consciousness that is beyond our present moment. So, you might be on a smaller level. You might think, well, mom and dad passed 20, 30, 40 years ago. I wonder how they're doing. Well, first, if you have that belief that they are alive in another plane, then it's going to be easier for you to connect. The only thing is, as they progress, just like you are in a state of progress, With yourself, you're evolving. As you evolve, the lineage behind you and before you is evolving as well. That means mom and dad is not going to look the same. They can project that thought to you. This is how you used to see me. And they'll project their best image, and then you pick up on the image. But there's a time when you see them as just a luminous form of light and energy and different colorizations running throughout the system. Okay, you're going to feel and notice those things, and they're going to be a lot different than what you're feeling about them right now. So that's highly important. Through our dream world, we have the opportunity to see and feel our current lifetimes, past lifetimes, and parallel lifetimes. Now, what are parallel lifetimes in the dream world? That means you see almost close to a carbon copy of yourself. The only difference is that parallel universal self is linked in to what we might call the more advanced side, and that is the side that knows how to move you from point A to point B successfully. You just have to come in touch with it enough times that you begin to have a telepathic communication happening with your higher self who's manifesting and working in these other worlds at the same time. What we have to realize is that we are no longer understanding just our earthly experience. And this is why children are around you and their memory is intact. They remember things they've seen. They remember grandma and grandpa, transitioning out of this world, the 3D world, and they can see them and communicate with them. They're having a ball. They're laughing and playing with them because they can see them through their spirit eye, their pineal gland, the pineal gland. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to clear that pineal gland, and we're trying to clear this pituitary gland so that we could see clearly, because those are connected through your eyes as well, and the other sensations that we have. So it is our job to try to understand how to get beyond the third world. The dream world helps us to do that. It helps us to seek out the truth about who we are and where we are. And this is why so many people, and I've this is just my opinion, but with all the stuff that's going on in the world that is very unsettling, there are shifts taking place in other dimensional layers. So what happens is you've got people, let's say, functioning with prejudices, okay? People dealing with their prejudices, their racism, and they're also dealing with, the fascism, all that stuff. For some people, they want to relive it, who have never lived it in the first place, but they want to relive it. So you, as a pure spiritual essence, can connect with your higher self over a long period of time and put into place the spirit of grace, okay, which I call divine grace, to put into place compassion and understanding. And the more that we whip this cake batter up that we're trying to make, this nice cream that we're trying to make, so that we land, and not just us landing, but our family members, loved ones, or close associates and close friends and elders also land in this environment as well. But as you create this environment here in this dream world, as you begin to create it, what actually takes place is you start seeing that which you are creating mentally and fueling it with your emotions. So that means your mental and your heart set are coming together. And as they come together, they begin to paint out a new image, a new experience. Now, many times you'll think you are the only one in that experience. Nope, you're not. What happens is you might be the star of your dream, and everybody else you know are your co stars, okay, and helpers. So they're going to experience something slightly different. And then they have the way that they see their life to be. They begin to project into the ethers the life they want to see for themselves. They are the star of their show, and you are the co star. So all these energies will start to bounce back and forth. And what we'll realize, we not signed up to be in the third dimension, we signed into it. because we were already at a higher structure, a higher plateau, but we wanted to come into the third dimensional consciousness and begin to help those who are there, who are struggling, to move them gently with their permission, with their understanding, into the fourth dimensional realm of consciousness, which is the heart chakra. Now, many of us on this earth were born on that level, in that heart space. Many of us were born in that heart space. We just forgot over time. Our goal is for children who are born in the 2000 range, 2005 and up. What we want to see for them is them to have the sense of an awakening immediately. So when they are birthed into this world, many of them birthed in at 2000 and now are age 25, or 1999 at age 96. So, excuse me, but we understand what I'm saying. I don't want to get past myself. Talk a lot, talk fast. So those who are born in 2000s, in the 2000 era, they're what, 25 going on 26. And many of them came back with a sense of knowing many things. So if you have a son or a daughter that you are connected with, and this doesn't mean all sons and daughters are this awake, but some are choosing to be awake when they are born in this world. There are others who will choose to be awakened later in their life, yeah, in their 20s, in their mid 20s. Something happened and they're able to turn things around. Some people have very traumatic experiences, even prior to 2000, getting hit over the top of the head or falling out of a building and surviving, or a myriad of many things that they see themselves experiencing all the time. And there's this sense, this surge of this need, this desire to awaken and put on the robe, conscious robe of their higher self. And so we find out that we signed into it, didn't sign up for it. We agreed to be here. And what we have to do is pretty much stay intact so that we're not falling off the horse, so to speak. We're not being drowned by the greater population that may not be so awakened as we are. We have to act on knowing and awareness and remembrance that this journey to self discovery, to finalize and embrace our higher self, that we're one and the same, we're giving ourselves a sense of permission to step out royally in this position and not sit on the sideline. So we know that these worlds, these dimensions do overlap. There's no such thing as a direct skip over the fourth dimension from the third to the fifth, because in order to deal in the fifth, you have to have that fourth dimensional realm of understanding, which is the heart chakra. That's where you're very compassionate. That's where you're serving up grace and unconditional love to people. And so this is happening all the time. Is it happening now? Yes, it is happening right now. And perhaps if we were taught this from the beginning. We don't rest this on the shoulders and minds of our parents. We all went to school at some point. Our parents may never have graduated. May some went as far as the fourth grade and then had to work on a family farm or a family general store. And those that got to be in their 18s experienced just the subtle beginnings of the depression area. Okay, so many things going on, and not just those elements, just more and more, which we have been seeing for the past couple of years, humanity performing crime on humanity. Then we see that begin to shift. And that's where we're at. We're in this moment where we're going to use our dream worlds as a tools. Use your dream world as a tool to figure out things that are going on around yourself. That's very, very important. We have to sit down and start to consciously grow in our awareness and begin to really study what is happening here and how we can make that shift. There's something called timeline shifting or timeline jumping or quantum jumping. They're really both one of the same. But they really mean is trying to locate yourself that's in another realm, a higher realm of consciousness that's already successful at what you're striving to do now. And you can very much find that part of yourself in layers upon layers of the next dimension, the fifth and sixth or more. But it takes time, and you have to allow yourself to be involved in taking time. You have to allow yourself to do your own sources of research, not just listen to me, but listen to other people so you can begin to balance out this information. Do you want to accept what I'm saying or accept what Sister So and so is saying or what a little boy, golden boy, is saying, little golden girl is saying? You got all these things operating around our lives. And then people are empathic and telepathic with their dogs and cats who are just waiting for us to pick up the energy so they can function a little better. So your dream is important. Life is a dream because it is you that's doing the dreaming, it is you that's having the consciousness to observe yourself internally to the external world that you are dreaming. We will always have dreams. Dreams help us understand to reflect on who we are in this world. We must always remember who we are. We are the higher self, which is an infinite reflection of divine source, prime creator, divine creator within the mind and heart of that creator. The heart of the creator is infinite. So we never get to the end. If we got to the end, we might fall off. Always going in cycles, always experiencing. So this is Clear Blue Radiance. Life is a Dream. I'm Brother Francis E. Rebels Bay. I hope I didn't stumble too much. This is live podcasting as it is. Stutter a little bit, almost feel like I'm falling off to sleep. It's all a live show, but it's pre-recorded. So I want to thank you so much for appreciating and following me here. I'm going to get an early shout out to Holly. I'm going to give a shout out to Barbara. I'm going to give out a shout out to Carol and Rose, and who else? Will. I'm going to get a shout out to. Did I say Corey? Oh, also Melanie. Everybody that comes through here, Linda, that will watch this later when I eventually get it up into the Resident Essentials YouTube channel. I'll have one there. If you have not subscribed, please do so you know when things are going on. For the most part, I'm one of the many practitioners or teachers affiliated with Resident Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics, here located at 2703 Broadbent Parkway Northeast, Suite J. Okay, so and our zip code there is 87107 dash 1600, I believe. Anyway, just use the 87107. But you can go to the YouTube channel, which gives the at symbol, then Resonant Essentials with the numbers 4314. So you'll see this there. You'll see some of the things Michelle talks about that she's teaching connected to her nonprofit Resident Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics. I'm there usually every Saturday morning, 11:30 to 12:30 a.m. with a very low fee to teach you how to meditate. And eventually, within about 3 to 6 months, if you're diligently doing the work on yourself as you do meditation, you will have a direct experience with your higher self. And that is one of the main goals, to connect with higher self, and then to connect into other realms of consciousness. I want to thank you for your time. Today's date is November the 6th, 2025. This again is Clear Blue Radiance. I am the host and originator, Brother Francis E. Revels Bay, the founder of the Circle of Grace One, which this grew out of. So take care of yourself. My grace is your grace. hopefully we'll get back to doing a live. I'm just taking more of a break so I can do more of these. I have many other things going on. My website is coming down eventually. You won't be able to catch it online by the 19th, but I'm going to look for another way of getting all this information out. And I just might return to my Circle of Grace 1 YouTube channel page, which is at Circle of Grace with the number 1. So, thank you for your time. Thank you for showing up and watching this, and feel free to share this video with anyone else that you feel that will get the information. You can email me and they can email me at iam.circleofgrace with the number 1 at the end at gmail.com. That's iam.circleofgrace1 at gmail.com. Just send me an email and I'll give you an update of what's going on. I have put together 2 video projects. One is called Clear Blue Radiance is the Light Within, with 8 individual topics, 8 individual video topics. And then I put together, and that's for a fee. And the other one that's feed is also my 5-point creative pathwork system. And I put that into 6-part video series. And I'm all about, when I get a little bit more energy and time, you're going to get a free 7th video, and it's going to be a guided meditation that you can listen to, whether you just want to do the audio side or you want to see me in the flesh guiding you through it. Thank you for your time. Remember that divine grace is a blessing as we're alive and well in the age of remembrance. And I look forward to hearing from you. Take care of yourself.